The year 1759. For 3 years, the British and French had been in a fierce struggle over who would control North America. Two generals found themselves locked in an increasingly desperate war. Each battle was more bitter and savage than the last. Neither side would admit defeat. When the British forces fought the French outside Quebec City, it would mark a major turning point in the future of North America. The great open spaces of North America became a rich prize for European governments in the 18th century. By 1750, France was a strong presence on much of the continent. The French had laid claim to Canada, which they called New France, as well as to the Louisiana territories, about 1/3 of the area of the modern United States. But British interests were growing. The powerful Hudson's Bay Company was encroaching on the profitable French fur trade. To the southeast, the settlers in Massachusetts and Virginia wanted to expand westwards. Confrontation was becoming inevitable. The French appointed Louis-Joseph de Saint-Véran, Marquis de Montcalm, to coordinate the defense of New France. At the age of 44, this aristocrat arrived in this primitive outpost of the French crown and set about recreating his estate in the south of France. Like most of the aristocrats who led European armies, Montcalm was a soldier of the old school. He believed his men should fight in a gentlemanly way, with opponents facing each other in orderly formations. This was the European way. But his men resented being stationed thousands of miles from home. They had no desire to be in Canada. In turn, the settlers resented the French soldiers, regarding them as a loathsome group who were living off what they had worked so hard to achieve. The French settlers had originally come to trade with the Native Americans, exchanging tools and guns for beaver fur. But many had stayed and put down roots. Vaudreuil, Quebec's governor, was one such settler. Now, over 60 years old, he was at ease with both the settlers and the Native Americans. When he heard of Montcalm's appointment, Vaudreuil was furious. As governor, he had run the province. Now he was ordered to bow to Montcalm in all military matters. Montcalm was vain, neurotic, and quick-tempered. He saw Vaudreuil as ignorant, corrupt, and worst of all, a Canadian. The defense of New France was now in the hands of two men who hated each other. At first, Montcalm was successful against the British, who were defeated at one border post after another. But William Pitt, Britain's war minister, had grand plans for his nation's overseas expansion and was determined to take control of this lucrative new territory. A brilliant strategist, he saw that the way into Canada was along the St. Lawrence River. Pitt knew that he had the most powerful navy in the world. Using Britain's awesome sea power would be the way to defeat France. To lead the seaborne invasion, he chose an ambitious 32-year-old soldier, James Wolfe. Pitt saw in Wolfe a man like himself, dangerous, manic, and driven. After a terrible 3-month Atlantic crossing, Wolfe was confronted by the formidable French garrison of Louisbourg. Louisbourg, the gateway to New France, protected the capital, Quebec City, some 800 miles inland. It was the strongest fortress in North America, with stone walls 10 feet thick and 30 feet high. Built in 1720 to defend France's North American interests, Louisbourg was a symbol of French confidence. It was so large that Louis XV joked that he should be able to see it from France.